Welcome to practice. The word for today's practice is pure. And in the yoga tradition, you'll find a lot of reference to the chakra system, which isn't our focus, but I'll mention it briefly. The chakras are 7 specific energy centers along what's called the Sushumna, or central channel. And essentially, these are 7 interlocking points of consciousness development. So this particular system has been adapted and adopted by great thinkers like Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, and even Carl Jung, to influence or inform our understanding of how we develop as humans. And the 5th chakra is located in the throat, not the physical throat itself, but this region of our physical and energetic body. And the Sanskrit word for it is visuddha. And visuddha means the most pure. And I think it's easy for me to associate purity with this like forever out of reach level of attainment that I'm after, cleansing my body or, what have you. All of the things that we do to purify ourselves. And yoga is not actually a practice of changing ourselves in the sense that's typically understood, right? I want to make something better of myself, as if to insinuate that what I am right now is nothing. Rather, this practice is one of refinement, one of peeling away layers of dullness on a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level until we are the purest version of ourselves. And the significance of the throat I find fascinating. The throat is where we generate sound in our body. This is where we move our internal reality to something external. It's where we're able to share our ideas, our beliefs, ourself. And there's a saying, sort of this, I think, innate or latent human understanding that word is significantly powerful. It's represented in the Bible, but it's also part of Vedic science, that what we speak, we manifest. So what we're putting out through vibration, we are not only creating around us, but we are actually physically becoming. So subtlety of vibration, clarity of vibration is one way that we can purify ourselves, in the sense that we are speaking truth. We are being authentic and clear and truthful and trustworthy. Now, what makes us not do that? Well, fear, intimidation, confusion, manipulation, all sorts of reasons. But for our purposes today, we're going to be working with getting our physical body and mental body more aligned with one another, so that there is a clarity of action and impact, and creating the possibility of a visceral experience of our essence, the purest version of ourselves. So I invite you to join your hands together. If that's a meaningful gesture for you, you could rest your hands anywhere on your body. Going to sound the mantra Om together, and placing your hands on your body, it's a nice way to connect to the vibration of it, the resonance of it. It's one of the more subtle practices that we have in yoga to do some of this reorganization of our landscape, our inner landscape. So if you want to be more in touch with that right from the get-go, you can place hands on body or simply rest your hands in your lap. Quiet your gaze, soften your eyes. Inhale and exhale deeply a few times. We'll sound Om one time. Om comprised of 3 sounds: ah, oo, Rather than thinking of making a sound, feel for the sound. Consider that you're creating a feeling, a vibe. Exhale out your mouth. Inhale through your nostrils, and on your next exhale, sound Om. We'll begin laying face down. So come to lay on your belly. Start in Sphinx pose just to get set up for this. You want your feet to be slightly wider than your hips. Your toes can point in or out as you like. Grab opposite elbows and then walk your elbows forward a couple of times so your chest is still propped up a bit, and then rest your forehead on your forearms. Now, if it feels like a very awkward angle, then you can move your elbows forward a touch, but you want to have more of the weight on your upper abdomen rather than your chest. Once you're in it, I'll lift my head so you can hear me. This pose is called Makarasana, which is the alligator, and you might get some pleasure or inspiration imagining a crocodile sort of hovering just below the surface. There's a quality of suspension in the body here, stillness, but the breath is mobile. So as you breathe in, there's obvious compression on the diaphragm. That's the point. See if you can feel for the possibility of movement wider into your ribs and even down into your low back. So as you inhale, you might actually sense your low back lifting a little bit and lengthening. And then on your exhale, it sort of sinks into that familiar curve, which lifting your chest a tiny bit is actually accentuating that curve. So we'll breathe like this as much as, or for another few moments. And as much as you can, keep your breath smooth rather than forcing it to be deep. So a smooth wave-like motion of inhale, exhale. And to whatever degree you've achieved that, now as you exhale, engage your low abdomen so you maintain a lot of that length in your low back, even as you let your exhale out. In the inhale, release the grip of your abdomen so you can expand more, but be ready to engage it again with exhale. Keep your low back long and sense strength in your abdomen as opposed to a kind of gripping or clenching quality. Just a couple more breath cycles here. As much as you can, rest your head fully on your forearms. Let your jaw be slack. And then we'll keep this focus in the breath, but change and add some movement here. So you're welcome to watch. Come up onto forearms again, Sphinx pose. This time you'll lift and lengthen each leg so that they're as close to one another as possible. Gently press the tops of your feet down into the floor. You will lower your forehead to the mat. Arms out in front of you, palms facing down. Now as you inhale, you will begin to squeeze your shoulder blades toward your spine, pull your elbows back, palms hover above the floor, and lift your head as though you were rolling a marble forward with your nose. As you exhale, stretch your arms forward as far as they'll go, rest your forehead down, rest your palms down. Inhale, draw shoulder blades to spine, bend elbows back, start to roll the marble forward as you lift your face, lift your sternum. Exhale, draw your abdomen in, keep your abdomen engaged even as you exhale this next time. Inhale, drag shoulders back, elbows back, lift your chest, abdomen still engaged, squeeze your legs. Exhale, release, and lengthen. 2 more times, just like this. Inhale, elbows back, shoulders back, chest up. Exhale, come down. Belly still engaged, strong legs. Slowly draw elbows, shoulders back, slowly lift your face, lift your chest. Stay lifted. Inhale, draw your shoulders back, chest up, engage abdomen. Stay for 1 more inhale. Keep your abdomen and glutes strong as you exhale, slowly lower down. You can rest your arms however is most comfortable. Turn your face to one side, maybe wiggle your hips. I like the feeling of bending my knees and swishing my shins back and forth a few times. And now please bring your hands to the mat in line with your ribs. Tuck your toes. Push your knees down into the floor. Tone your abdomen and push up to hands and knees. Walk your knees forward until they're stacked just under your hip joints. Hands stacked under your shoulders. Squeeze them out with your hands like you were trying to grip it in your palms. Round your back. Stay in this cat stretch for a couple breath cycles. Inhale, try to get longer in your back body. Exhale, lift your belly button. Press your hands and your shins into the floor. Inhale, round more. Exhale, round even more. Last one. And release. Walk your hands a full palm print forward. Make sure your index fingers point straight ahead. Grip the mat again. Tuck your toes under. Lift your knees. Down dog. Press evenly through your hands and your feet. So you've got 4 limbs of support here. With your hands, grip the mat. Press slightly down and out. Don't force your heels down to the floor, but do press the balls of your feet down firmly. Even soften your knees a tiny bit so you get this quality of strength in your thighs and your lower legs. Lengthen the sides of your waist as though you were lifting your hips up to the sky, and then move them back away from you with the strength of your legs. Sink your heels as much as you can. As you exhale, shift your bottom ribs back in space. Last breath cycle here. Lift your tailbone a little more towards the ceiling. With your exhale, strong legs, press your hips back away from your hands. And then slowly walk your hands back to your feet. Fold over your legs. Bend your knees enough to feel relief in your neck, your shoulders, your spine. And then slowly walk your hands up the fronts of your legs to come to standing. Stand tall. I'm going to stay kneeling so you can see the motion that we're doing together. But you'll be standing, look at your feet, set them parallel to one another. They can be touching or hips width distance apart. Relax your arms alongside your body. Rotate your shoulders back so your palms face forward. Draw your bottom ribs back and reach your tailbone for the floor. On inhale, sweep your arms wide to the sides, lift your face with your hands, and press your palms together. Exhale, turn your palms out and down, and lower your arms all the way. Inhale, flip palms up, stretch up, reach for the ceiling. Exhale, palms out and down. I like the image of a French press of coffee. Inhale, and you're filling. On the exhale, just plunge out all the grounds, all the grit, all the stuff that you don't actually want in your space. Inhale, we take it all in. Exhale for clarification, what you actually need to hold on to. We'll do this one more time. Inhale, reach out and up. And exhale, arms out and down. Now that you know what my upper body is doing, I'll stand up and we'll build on this. Half sun salutes. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, bend your knees slightly and fold all the way forward to touch the mat. Hang your head. Inhale, hands up onto shins. Reach your chest forward, look forward, strong legs. Exhale, reach for the floor, drop your head. Inhale, look forward, lift your chest, circle your arms out and up, stand up. Exhale, arms down alongside your body. We'll do this 2 more times. Inhale, reach out and up, look up. Exhale, bend your knees slightly, forward fold. Lift your abdomen toward your spine. Inhale, hands to shins, lengthen your spine parallel to the floor, strong legs. Exhale, release, belly to spine. Inhale, chest up, look up, arms out and up. Exhale, palms down as you lower your arms. Last one. Inhale, reach out and up, look up. Exhale, bend your knees, lift your abdomen as you fold. Touch the ground, relax your head. Inhale, hands to shins, lengthen your spine as you look forward. Exhale, release, strong legs. Inhale to standing, chest up, arms up. Exhale, circle your arms out and down. This time, bring your hands to prayer in front of your chest. If that's meaningful, you could also rest your arms. Now we'll move into a full sun salute. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, bend your knees slightly, lift your belly as you fold. Inhale, hands up on shins, lengthen your spine parallel to the floor. As you exhale, bend your knees a lot. Keep your chest lifted, touch the floor with your hands. Inhale, step to plank, one leg at a time. Grip the floor with your hands. Exhale, squeeze your legs in, belly in, round your back slightly. Inhale, knees to the mat. Exhale, lower your front body to the mat. Keep your hands right where they are, hopefully right in line with your ribs. Point your toes back, push the floor till your legs straighten. Inhale, pull your chest forward. Draw your shoulders back. Roll that marble forward with your nose. Exhale, come down. Tuck your toes, push your knees and hands down, lift up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Slightly bend both of your knees, look forward. With an exhale, step your right foot to your right thumb. Get your heel down, you might need to grab your leg and move it. Push your right foot into the floor, squeeze your left glutes in and straighten your left knee. Inhale, hands to hips, lift your chest. Exhale, scissor your thighs towards one another. If you like, reach your arms up overhead. Straight elbows, palms face each other. Inhale, breathe wide into your back body. Remember the crocodile. Exhale, belly to spine, lift your chest toward your hands. Inhale again, breathe wide into your ribs. Exhale, push the floor with both feet to get taller in your chest. Inhale, hands down. Exhale, plank. Inhale, in plank, grip the floor, straighten your legs. Exhale, in plank, lift your abdomen. Inhale, knees down. Exhale, lower your front body to the mat. Press the mat with your feet, straighten your knees. Inhale, elbows back, shoulders back, lift your chest. Exhale, come down. Tuck your toes, push your knees and hands down. Lift up to all fours. Inhale, down dog, exhale. Bend your knees slightly to look forward. Step your left foot to your left thumb. Get your foot flat. Left knee on top of left heel. Squeeze your right hip in. Engage your glutes. Straighten the knee. Inhale, hands to hips. Lift your chest. Inhale here. Get your balance. Option to stretch your arms up. With your exhale, imagine your thighs moving towards one another. Drag your front heel back. Drag your back foot forward. It's a very small action in reality. Inhale deep into your low back. Keep that length by engaging your abdomen with your exhale. Another big breath in. Strengthen your legs to exhale completely. Get stronger, get taller. Inhale, hands down. Step back, plank. Last plank. Inhale, grip the floor. Squeeze your thighs together, engage your glutes. Exhale, push the floor. Inhale, knees down. Exhale, lower down. Strengthen your legs, strengthen your abdomen. Inhale, drag your ribs forward. Roll the marble with your nose. Exhale, down. Knees down, hands down. Push up, inhale. Down dog. Walk your feet to your hands, maybe feet to thumbs like you did for your lunges. Feet about hips width distance apart. Bend your knees enough so your spine hangs. Relax your neck. Inhale here. Exhale, strengthen your legs. Draw your belly in and maybe bring a little more length to your legs. Inhale, hands to shins, look forward, draw your shoulders back. Stay here for your exhale, belly to spine. Inhale, stand all the way up. Exhale, relax your arms. From this position, hands on hips, bend your knees. Step your left foot back for warrior one. So the difference between warrior one and lunge is that your heel comes down. When I lower my heel, I feel a bit twisted, a little too wonky, frankly. So it can help if you're feeling wonky, aching in your back knee, just a little off center. Move your back foot to its side, so my left foot to the left, and forward an inch. Forward and to the side an inch. Anchor both feet. Hands can stay on hips or again extend overhead. Inhale, lunge into your front knee without letting your knee go past your toes. Exhale, pull your front hip back and navel to spine. Find your Makarasana breath. Find that smooth, unbroken line of nourishment and release. Vitality and clarity. What can you change in this moment to bring you closer to exactly what you need? Lower your arms, hands on hips, tip forward slightly, step your back foot forward, mountain pose. Bend your knees a little, bounce a little, roll your shoulders back as you stand up. Hands on hips, gentle bend in your knees. Step your right leg back this time for warrior one. Find just your right stance. Maybe you hop forward to the side. Maybe long feels like exactly center for you. Hug the floor with your feet. Reach your arms overhead if you like. With your inhale, lunge without letting your knee go past your toes. Exhale, hug your front hip back, back hip forward. Inhale, find your low ribs. Exhale, lift them by drawing your navel back. Inhale, find some softness. Then you can find out where you need strength. Exhale, push the floor with your legs, make them strong. Last breath. And lower your arms, hands on hips if you like. Lean forward, step forward. Tadasana, mountain pose. Step to the middle of your mat and then turn to face the long edge of your mat. Bring your feet together, hands on hips. With an inhale, bend your knees. With your exhale, hop your feet wide apart. Now, point all 10 toes forward to the long edge of your mat for now. Make your heels a little wider than your pinky toes. Reach your arms out wide, parallel to the floor, and then turn your right toes out 90 degrees. Make sure your kneecap points down your middle toe. One way to do that is micro bend your knee and then engage glutes and quads. Inhale here. Exhale, tip over on your right side for Trikonasana, right hand to right shin or a block. Widen your chest with your inhale. Exhale, push the floor with your feet, lift your inner thighs up and in. Option to turn your head and look at the ceiling. The only reason that would be beneficial is if it brings more of a sense of clarity and freedom to your pose. What can you receive on your inhale? What can you release as you exhale? Adjust the posture to optimize those two functions. Inhale, come up. Exhale, turn all 10 toes to the long edge of your mat. Relax your arms. Inhale, arms up. Rotate your left toes out 90 degrees. Make sure your right heel is a little wider than your pinky toe. Micro bend your left knee for a moment and then squeeze your glutes and your quads to point your kneecap down the middle of your foot. Tip over on your left side, Trikonasana. Inhale, reach your arms wide apart. Exhale, pull your belly back, ribs back, and turn your chest to the ceiling. Lengthen all sides of your neck. If you can't, as you rotate your head toward the ceiling, then keep your gaze down at the floor. Inhale, come up. Turn all 10 toes to the long edge of your mat. Lower hands to hips. Inhale, bend your knees slightly. Exhale, hop your feet together. Come to the top of your mat. Feet together or close to each other. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend your knees as you fold. Touch the earth. Inhale, hands to shins. Lift your spine parallel to the floor. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, grip the floor, step back to plank. Inhale and plank, grip your mat, engage your glutes, lift your abdomen. Exhale and plank. Inhale, knees to the floor. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower down. Tuck your toes, push your knees down. Inhale, hands and knees. This time, exhale to a kneeling position. Walk your knees forward. Tuck your toes under. And then push your butt back toward your heels. This might be plenty as far as stretch is concerned. If you're not getting much of a sensation of stretch in your feet or your ankles, you could bring your hands up to your thighs, but still hinge a little forward. The most weight, and therefore the most intensity, is going to be vertical in your spine. Now, why would you want that? Well, maybe the intensity deepens your breath, makes you feel more present. If the intensity makes you grit your teeth and fight yourself, you're not getting closer to that essential nature. At least I don't think your essential nature is gritting and huffing and puffing and struggling. Bring your hands to the mat. Walk your knees back slightly. Lift your knees up, plank. Exhale, down dog. Little bend in your knees, look forward. Exhale, step your right foot to your right thumb. Get a 90-degree bend in your right knee, that's knee over heel. Squeeze your left hip in and engage your glutes. Your left palm can go flat or rest on a block. Inhale, right hand to right hip. As you exhale, hug your thighs in towards each other, lift your abdomen, and then turn your chest to the right. If you can, stack your shoulders right on top of left, turn and look right. Option to reach your right arm for the ceiling and even look at your hand. With your inhale, you want to be able to sense some movement, some length in your low ribs, low back. On exhale, firmly hug your thighs in towards center and see if you can twist another 1/2 inch. Inhale, right hand down. Exhale, back, down dog. A little bend in your knees, look forward. Exhale, left foot to left thumb. Find your lunge. Left knee over left heel. Right leg strong, glutes engaged. Rest your right palm flat on the mat or on a block. Inhale, left hand to left hip. Inhale, turn to the left. Exhale, strengthen your base. Legs in, belly up. Left shoulder over right, if that is breathable. And then final option, lift your left arm to the ceiling and look toward your hand. Notice your breath. Notice what kind of vibe, what kind of tone you're setting for your inner landscape, your physical body and your mind. This is not mind over matter. This is an attempt at union between mind and body. Inhale, left hand down, exhale, down dog. Grip the floor with your hands. Strengthen your thighs. Pull your bottom ribs in and relax your head. Inhale, bring your knees to the mat. This time come to kneeling, but with your ankles flat. So toes pointing straight back. Bring your left palm in front of your belly like a plate. Make a fist with your right hand and then stick out your thumb like a hitchhiker. Press the outer edge of your right hand into the middle of your left palm. This is called Shiva Linga Mudra. And all that means is we're creating a physical seal. We are embodying this notion of yoking, joining, effort and ease, nourishment and clarity. See if you can reestablish something like pure breathing, inhaling and exhaling evenly, smoothly, like an unbroken wave. Release your hands to your thighs, bow your chin, open your eyes if they were closed, and come to standing. Bring your ankles as close together as they'll get, hands on hips, sit back in a chair, Utkatasana. Press down with your hands on your hips and resist that descent with your ribs and your chest. Feel that stretch, length in the side waist. Keep that, reach your arms alongside your head. Sink some weight back into your heels, but continue to press your toes down. Move your bottom ribs back. As you inhale, drop your butt, lift your chest. It's going to be small motions on either end. Exhale, belly to spine, reach your arms, lengthen your neck. Inhale, drop your butt, lift your chest. Exhale, belly to spine, engage your glutes. Last couple breaths here. Bring some softness to your jaw. Move your skull back in space and see if you can open your eyes with a soft gaze. Inhale, hands to the floor. Touch your ribs to your thighs, and with that contact, straighten your legs as much as you can. Drop your head. 5 breaths. Bend your knees, put your hands on the mat, grip the floor. Step your feet back to plank. Option to keep your knees lifted this time. With your next exhale, lower all the way down. Now, I'm going to be up talking you through this. So do as I say, not as I do. You're laying on your belly, forehead to the floor or chin, whatever you prefer. Stretch your hands back toward your feet with the backs of your hands on the mat. Lift and lengthen each leg one time. Bring them as close together as they'll get. And then push the tops of your feet into the floor until your legs straighten. Almost lift your feet, just enough to feel the engagement of your thighs, probably your glutes. Keep your hands down, your feet down. Roll the marble forward with your nose. Start to peel your chest up as you squeeze your shoulders to your spine. Keep pressing the backs of your hands and the tops of your feet to the floor. Draw in with shoulder blades, inner thighs. Push your tailbone down toward the mat, lift your abdomen up. With your next inhale, lift your chest and lengthen your neck. With your exhale, lower down. Turn your face to one side, wiggle your hips, move around in a way that pleases you. And then bring your forehead or your chin back to the mat. Adjust your legs if you need to. You want them as close together as they'll get, as long as they can be. This time, stretch your hands back toward your feet with your palms facing in towards your legs. This time, press the tops of your feet into the floor so that your knees lift off the mat, legs are straight. Get that feeling of engagement by almost lifting your feet. Draw your abdomen in, tuck your tailbone, and then start to lift your chest up. This time your hands and your feet get to come off the floor too. Hug in with your arms and your legs like you were holding something very precious on your back. Look forward without crimping your neck. I have no idea what that sounded like for you. My husband just tried to call me. I apologize. So, take a couple breaths here and then lower down. Turn your face to the other side and rest. Final belly back bend. Bring your forehead or your chin back to the mat. Adjust your legs as needed so they're as long as possible, as close together as possible. Bend your elbows and behind your back, interlace your hands together. Keep your elbows really bent for now. You can interlace your hands and pull the hands apart like those finger trap toys. So there's space between the palms, your elbows are still bent. Roll your shoulders back and in. If you can keep your shoulders in this position, begin to straighten your elbows. With strong legs and a strong abdomen, inhale, lift your face, your chest, your legs off the mat. See if you can get more of your thighs off the mat without squishing your low back. So here, attempt pure breathing. Inhale, exhale fluidly. Bring length to your lower spine. Feel all that compression on the belly. Bring the length and spaciousness into your back body. On exhale, draw your abdomen up and in even further to hold that length. Any amount, lift the back of your skull toward the ceiling, lift your heels toward the ceiling. On your next exhale, release. Turn your head to the first side or whatever, whatever feels good. We're at an odd number. You can wiggle your hips, you can bend your knees and sway your shins back and forth. And then please flip over onto your back. Bend both of your knees so that your feet are on the floor. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh and flex your right ankle so the toes point up. Now draw your legs in toward your chest and hold on to the back of your left thigh or the front of your left shin. And use this gauge to figure out what's going to be best. The intensity of your sensation, what does that do to your breath? Does it open your breath? Does it zero you in your focus? Or does it scatter you and make you start sweating bullets, huffing and puffing? Create clarity with your effort, ease and release with all that you invite in through the posture. Keep the back of your neck as long as possible, the back of your head heavy on the floor. Inhale, bring some softness to your forehead. And you might exhale out the mouth this round, flutter your lips, sigh, just to remind yourself that you can. With clarity and patience, change sides. Make sure your left ankle is flexed, your toes pulling back toward your left knee. Hold on to the back of your right thigh or the front of your shin, and it's totally based on what this needs right now, not how you're accustomed to doing it. And this quest for purity in yoga, this refinement of self, requires moment-to-moment presence and adaptation. So we stay attentive to the season we are in, physically, our surroundings, and also internally. And how do we get more in tune with that? How do we invite as much that season has to offer, all that season has to offer, and release whatever is left over, old, outdated from the last season? Release both feet to the floor. Stretch your legs out long for Supta Tadasana. Roll your shoulders in slightly to the spine, palms face the ceiling, flex your ankles gently so your toes point up. And breathe here for 3 or 4 rounds. Good. Flip over onto your belly, please. Come onto hands and knees. Grip the floor with your hands. It's just good practice. And then slide your right knee to the outside of your right wrist. Kick your foot forward a little just so that it's not under your pelvis. Slide your left leg and your pelvis back. I like to keep my left toes tucked under, whatever the back leg is, because I tend to hyperextend in my hips a little bit, really dig into my low back. So this is just kind of like a break for me, like brakes in a car. Hug your front hip and your back hip towards center, just like you did in your lunges. Hug your thighs in, lift your abdomen, and then walk your hands forward a full palm's length. Try this for a moment. Grip the floor, keep your arms straight and your chest propped up. Hug your thighs in. Lower your elbows where your hands are. And if that's too much, you simply bring your hands back to that spot. Or come down. Rather than hanging your head, keep the sides of your neck long. Find pure breath. Inhale, exhale for the same length of time. A smooth, unbroken line of breath. I invite you to stay here if you have a sense of kind of sinking into your zone. No need to disrupt that. If you need a little more juice to find your zone, tip your weight to the right, bring your weight onto your right hip. You can rest on your right elbow or come up to your hand. Reach left hand back for the front of your left ankle, draw your heel toward your hip. If that's too much, kick your foot into your hand, engage a little strength in your hip and thigh. If your heel easily touches your hip, bring your knee back so the thigh is a little more parallel to the long edge of your mat. And you might even start to roll your left hip forward. What are you able to bring in with this? And as importantly, what are you able to let go of? This internal, visceral sense of what is needed, what is helpful, becomes the foundation for how we express ourselves and for how we create relationships in the world around us. Release your back leg if you have a bind. Come back up onto your hands, hands under shoulders. Tuck your back toes under if they're not, and return to hands and knees. Wag your tail back and forth. Maybe do a spirally cow-cat. I like to think of this as a rotisserie. In other words, indulge in pleasurable movement for a moment. From hands and knees, make sure you're gripping the floor. Slide your left knee outside your left wrist and kick your foot forward so it's not underneath you. Tuck your right toes under, slide your pelvis back in space, and lower it down as much as is optimal for you. Where your hands are now, walk them a full palm's length forward, grip the floor. Hug your shoulders back, hug your thighs towards one another, lift your belly. Establish smooth, pure breathing here. If you get a sense that there's an invitation for more from your body and not your mind overriding body, lower elbows to where your hands are. And maybe your body was mistaken. There's always that option. Hug your thighs in, keep your neck long. Tune into the quality of your breath. If there is an invitation for more, a desire for a little more juice behind your breath, roll your weight to your left hip. Come up onto your left elbow or left palm. Reach back for the front of your right ankle with your right hand. Draw heel to hip, or you can even kick your foot into your hand if you just need a little something, but not full bore. If there's more room, move your right knee back in space so your thigh is more parallel to the long edge of your mat. And you can also begin to roll your right hip forward and down. Notice your own sense of balance between inhale, exhale. Maybe some of the subtler stuff is elusive amidst the intensity of the sensation. So let your breath be the truest guide of what you're actually doing. Is this true for you? Is this the purest expression of your pose? Slowly release your back foot if you've bound it. Bring your hands to the mat under your shoulders, tuck your back toes, and return to hands and knees. This time, we'll wiggle it out in down dog. You can always do it on hands and knees if you prefer. If you're coming to down dog, lift your knees up, strengthen the grip of your hands and your feet on the floor, and then alternately bend your knees and sway your hips side to side. Lower your knees, flip over onto your back. Bend your knees and set up your feet for bridge pose, which means hips width distance apart and your heels close enough to your hips that your middle fingers just barely brush the backs of them. Press your palms flat into the mat on either side of your pelvis. Press your shoulders back into the floor so your chest is wide. Inhale. Flatten your feet into the ground. Exhale, push straight down into the soles of your feet to lift your hips up. Keep pressing your shoulders back, even press the back of your head into the floor. Inhale, lift your hips, keep your feet heavy and flat. Exhale, engage your glutes and hug your knees in towards one another, but like you had a basketball between your knees. 3 more breaths here. Each inhale, find a little more spaciousness across the front of your body. Each exhale, a little more relationship to the floor. Push down into it and gather strength from it. The end of your next exhale, Soften the grip between your shoulders. Start to roll your spine down onto the floor. Widen your feet to outer hips width distance, even the outer edges of your mat. And knock your knees in against each other to touch. You can cross your hands over your low belly. Rest a palm over your chest if that feels good. Or what I will do is drape my arms back alongside my head. If you feel a little out of breath, arms up alongside your head can actually shorten your breath, so keep that in mind. And then hug both knees into your chest. Pump them gently in and out. With your knees in, hug your inner ankles together, flex them. So it's like you're showing the soles of your feet to the opposite side of the room. Pull your toes back to your knees. Let your knees come apart an inch or two, but squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. Now lift your heels and your knees enough to have roughly a 90-degree angle in your knees. Stretch your arms open to the sides and bend your elbows so you can squeeze your shoulder blades toward your spine. With your inhale, lower your knees halfway to the right, keeping the space between your knees, keeping your left elbow on the floor. Exhale, come to center. Inhale, knees off center to the left, right elbow down. Exhale, squeeze your abdomen to come back. We'll just tick-tock. Keep the gap between your knees. Keep your inner thighs hugging in, the inner soles of your feet hugging in. Feel this stretch alongside your obliques as you keep your low belly taut. Inhale, stretch your knees away from center. Exhale, pulls them back to center. You can start to increase the depth, but not at the detriment of the quality of your breath and the clarity of your experience. The clarity of your action, what you're actually doing right now with yourself, with your life force, with your precious body. That's our focus. One or two more to each side. Notice how you're feeling. Try not to let your knees move away from you. I probably should have said that sooner, but hopefully it's not too late. Keep them fairly close. Good. Then when you're done, Supta Tadasana. Bring some length again to the fronts of your thighs. Flex your ankles just enough to point your toes up at the ceiling. And keeping your left leg long, draw your right knee to your chest and interlace your hands behind your thigh. Just bounce your right foot up and down a few times. Loosen your lower leg. Notice where your right thigh bone is connecting to your right hip socket. Just at that juncture, pull down towards your left foot, almost like you had a tether between your left foot and your right hip. Then inhale, begin to or straighten your right leg. Exhale, bend your right knee and rehook outer right hip to left foot. Inhale, begin to or straighten your right leg. Exhale, bend your knee, hug your thighs in. Just a couple more times with this pumping action, establishing an anchor between the simultaneous action of lengthening the back of your right leg and hugging your outer right hip down. On this next breath, lengthen your right leg and maintain the shape with your exhale. 3 deep breaths. Each inhale feeling for the possibility of a little more length. Each exhale, possibility of a little more strength. Bend your right knee, Supta Tadasana, straighten your right leg down onto the mat. And bend your left knee into your chest. Hold on to the back of your thigh. Flop your left lower leg up and down a few times. And then engage strongly your outer left hip toward your inner right heel. Inhale, begin to or straighten your left leg toward the ceiling. Exhale, bend, hug your outer left hip down towards your right foot. Inhale, extend, maybe a little more length. Exhale, anchor that left hip. One more time, pumping. And see if we can hold the action simultaneously. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, strengthen your inner thighs toward one another, hugging outer left hip to inner right foot. Flare your left toes and really draw your toes down toward your face. Your left knee does not need to be straight. Any amount of bend there so that you can breathe and have clarity in your action is what's optimal. Bend your left knee into your chest. Bend your right knee into your chest. Gently rock your hips side to side. And please lower your legs for Shavasana. And take a comfortable resting pose. You can rest as long as you like. I recommend setting a timer for yourself, at least 5 minutes. You can play a song, you can just set a nice chime to go off. Maybe you even take advantage of 20 minutes that you have and drift into a little yoga nidra practice. As you settle into your final resting pose, allow for the fullness of this practice, all that you've taken in on subtle levels and gross levels, obvious levels, to be. Trust that you will retain what is exactly necessary for you. And with this quality of trust in yourself, your own discernment, sense the purity of your experience, the purity of your wisdom, the purity of the final product.